Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's just go over what in the hell happened today. We had a pretty wild last about hour or so of the trading day. So yeah, let's just talk about it, let's discuss it, and let's figure this out. So if you enjoyed the video, as per usual, please don't forget to hit that like button as it does help a lot. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. The link is down below in the description of the video. For $3 a month, you get my access to my intraday thoughts and updates and whatnot on Tesla, pretty much as it's moving throughout the day and whatnot. And people have been finding it pretty useful, at least for the most part. At least it seems like it. So yeah, if you're interested, the link is below. But let's just jump right into it. Tesla closing the day down. Let me just double check because again, this changes post-market as well. So I want to make sure almost 4% on the day, closing at pretty much just above $247 per share. So compared to the market, obviously, roughly in line, maybe slight underperformance, but nothing crazy, pretty much in line with the market. And the market absolutely just, I don't know what happened towards the end of the day, but the market just completely sold off like an absolute, like look at this, like what is this? But and again, this is SPY, this is QQQ, Tesla, right? Netflix, Disney, Google, like everything, like pretty much everything just completely and utterly sold off towards the end of the day. So sometimes it just be like that, right? Sometimes the market just does these sort of things. That is what it is. But with that being said, let's talk about it. So Tesla, right? What's happening? So is this bad, right? Is Tesla now bearish, right? Is it bullish still? Like what's going on? So first and foremost, let's talk about it on the daily. So the daily is interesting, right? So obviously, we have this blue line. We talked about it, I believe, yesterday, right? I brought up the green and blue lines. Now, the blue line is one that has been acting as a resistance here, several times here, including today, right? And so far, we've been rejecting pretty much right at it, which was, very close to the 260s, right? It is what it is. Now, today, obviously, we had a pretty substantial rejection. Again, the market in general, not just Tesla, right? Which is fine in my opinion. I don't think it's, I don't think it's an area to be worrying as a bull, personally. Not yet, at least. We'll see. It could be, but as of right now, it's expected, I guess. So again, rejecting off this, right? Now, we are, of course, technically also still, again, don't forget, we're in this technical ascending wedge, right? These two blue lines, pretty much. And this is the blue line, remember, that we broke down below a couple of times, and instead we just had an absolutely astronomical bear trap into just a massive follow through. Well, it's kind of what's happening here right now, right? Just overall a massive, this blue line rather, is we're pretty much at it right now, right? Which is, again, pretty much this like 245-ish level is pretty much where the support roughly is for this blue line. And it's also where this green line is. This is that green line, remember that consolidation range that we were going sideways, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? The potential bull flag. I took away the bottom ones because this is the only one that technically matters now, since if we do come down to it like we are right now, in theory, it could just be simply a retest. And that's kind of what's happening as well, potentially. We'll see, right? But what I see from this is, again, just a retest, right? We're at the bottom of this channel, which, if we break down from below this, then, maybe things get a little bit more concerning. But ultimately, just a retest, potentially, of this green bull flag that we were in. Potentially can go a little bit lower. Maybe we go down to the low 240s and get a retest of the overall bull flag that we broke out of, like the massive one, this huge one, right? Which looks a little bit better on the weekly, right? So the weekly looks like this. Same concept. This is the same bull flag that I just showed you on the daily, right? Pretty much the exact same one. And the concept is similar. We came up also with the blue line, got rejected, right? Got rejected right at this white line that I have, which is about 260, right? It's there for a reason, right? This white line isn't just there for, shits and giggles. It's there for a reason. Got rejected pretty much right at it as well so far on the weekly candle. The MACD's kind of still flipped bullish, but it's like neutral right now for the most part. But the way I look at it is this, right? Same concept on the daily, like beautiful breakout from the bull flag, closed the weekly candle above the bull, like well above the bull flag, had some nice follow through, but it's normal, to have a bit of follow through and then you reject and ultimately come down to do a retest. Obviously, it doesn't always happen, but pretty often at some point ish, you get this retest, right? You get this rejection, you get this retest. And now what I want to see is us potentially go a little bit lower, maybe like I said, closer to like 242, 243, something like that on the weekly is what I'd want to see, which essentially brings us right down to that retest of this overall breakout from this bull flag. And as long as pretty much the low 240s ish holds, this is just textbook. It's just textbook. Like there's just not, I don't, to me, there's nothing to worry about. Now, obviously, if we start breaking down below the 240s, we start entering the 230s, we start closing candles in the 230s, we start closing weekly candles in the 230s. Okay, well, things start getting a little bit more confusing. Like, yes, we still have a lot of support under us. Yes, we still have the 100-day moving average. We still have the 21 EMA. Obviously, well below that, we still have the 50-day moving average sitting at pretty much 220, right? And even the 200-day moving average sitting at pretty much 214. Yeah, like, yes, we have all of those. But ideally, the ideal scenario for me right now that is just textbook. Like, it truly would be just absolute textbook is again just a retest, just a simple retest of this breakout, of this bull flag, and we continue higher. That's usually how it happens, right? That's how these things play out more often than not. So again, in my opinion, as it stands, as of right now, yeah, it's kind of scary. Yes, it was a big drop. Yes, 4% drop is a decent drop. It's not little, but you know, again, just a potential retest, right? This is why personally I've been selling calls. I sold weekly calls. I'm not selling anything longer than that because I do think Tesla's ready to explode at some point. I really think the big move is still coming because again, if we take a look to the squeeze indicator, the TTM squeeze, still getting the red circles, right? We're still getting a lot of like momentum being built up, right? It's still a lot of potential movement being, you know, ready to essentially unleash, if you will, right? Same on the daily, a lot of red circles, right? So there's a lot of momentum still being, still waiting to be unleashed. So take that for what it's worth, right? That's why I'm only selling weeklies because I was pretty confident, and I was telling my members. I even said it this morning, I think somewhere. Let me go down to my one of my first posts this morning. I did a lot of posts today. I think sometimes I want to do less posts so it's not too flooded. But here, getting that slight push higher as we keep hugging the bottom of the blue line, right? Which is this. This is from my phone. As you can see, I still would be surprised if we go past 260 to 265 this week. Personally, right? It feels like we're building up momentum to do it next week. Hopefully next week is what I'm hoping for. Obviously things can change, but you know, personally we'd be surprised if we passed 260 to 265 and we rejected right at 260. So again, that's why I'm selling calls. Like I sold 265 call weeklies here, pretty much at when it was about 257, I think it was Tesla. So just, you know, taking in their free premium as Tesla's just kind of doing its thing, going for that retest that I did think was going to happen. Obviously wasn't 100% sure about it, but I was pretty confident. And that's kind of what it is, right? And you just let the options, the option cells just kind of really give you that kind of passive money while Tesla's just doing its thing essentially, really, you know, and that's just the way I like to play it. Now, let's go ahead and remove some of these green lines, right? We obviously broke down below some of these. Now we did have a bearish divergence that was setting up. I was sharing with my members, right? We had a bearish divergence where, as you can see, as the stock was essentially making higher highs, the RSI was of course on the 65-minute chart making lower highs. Now there was one caveat that I did also mention, that there was potentially a hidden bullish divergence being set up, where essentially the way that works is as the RSI in this case is making also in this case lower lows, right? And it was making lower lows back when we were still trading somewhere around like 254-ish today, something like that, right? Technically we were making higher lows, right? We never actually made lower lows. We were constantly making higher lows, but then obviously since we broke down below, it's completely avoided and irrelevant. But that's what a potential hidden bullish divergence was being set up at. Obviously no longer a thing because we did make a lower low, which now follows the RSI. So, you know, obviously take that for what it's worth. But all in all, pretty much it's pretty simple. Like again, I'm seeing a move to the downside, maybe a little bit lower, rather 242-ish, give or take a few dollars potentially, right? I'll probably enter some positions there if we do get there. I'm not in a rush. I'll look for a reaction, and I'll enter as I feel comfortable to enter a bullish position. I'm still holding my other shares. I'm just selling calls against them, just letting that kind of, you know, slowly make me passive money as Tesla's just doing its not random, but, you know, movement, if you will. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So that's the main thing I'm looking at. Let's take a quick look at options flow actually over here very quickly. So there was a lot of bearish flow actually earlier today that now of course has turned bullish. At the bottom right, I'm actually blocking it. I'll move my camera for now. At the bottom right, we have two calls over here, very in the money, like extremely in the money, and also extremely far out. 2026 in January, both 100 calls, which again is exceptionally in the money. 1.3 million in premium, so 2.6 total. Maybe it's the same person, two different blocks. I have no idea. But the point is, nice little whale position here. But again, it's so safe that I don't personally value it that much, just because it's ridiculously safe. Like this is like, you might as well just buy shares at this point. But if you look at it over here on the left, right, you know, a little bit of a mixed a thing happening here, right? That, in my opinion, a little bit more calls than puts, but, you know, pretty mixed, right? Definitely more higher premium in calls than puts, right? Some of them, for instance, being 260 calls expiring, I believe, next week. So yeah, we'll see. But that's kind of what I'm seeing, and that's kind of what I'm expecting. Again, you know, wouldn't be surprised, a little bit lower tomorrow, maybe Friday, right? Get that retest, low 240s, ideally hold, ideally bounce off that bull flag, and then we just continue moving even higher, right? We have, of course, the volume profile, right? Still kind of overall helping us for the most part. Same on the weekly, right? Let me go ahead and see where the volume, I don't know why it always puts it back here. It's really weird. Let me go ahead and remove that over here, right? And you can see here, right? Volume profile, we're entering a nice little volume area over here that should also act as a support, which is pretty much this 240s range on the weekly. And right now, probably my favorite time frame to look at is probably the weekly. It's clean, it makes sense, there's just no confusion. It's just, man, you look at this and you're like, yes, you know what, this makes sense. And that's the way I'm looking at it right now. If things change, I'll let you know, but as of right now, that's what I'm expecting, and that's what I am seeing. Taking a last final quick look over here is going to be the seasonality, right? Let's go ahead and change this from monthly over to week of the year, and you can see as you move Why is that doing that? Let me go ahead and take my camera and do that. Beautiful. You can see this week that we're in right now is a pretty 50-50 week, but the next couple of weeks that we have moving into pretty much the end of like the literal end of the year are pretty darn bullish, especially the last week of the year. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, we'll see. Things can change. Things can turn bearish really quickly if things don't go as I expect them to. But that's what I'm expecting. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated as usual. But if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And I will see you tomorrow. So until then, peace.